I was raised by my grandmother and my great grandmother. And hey, lovely, come on in. I think we just need to. Okay. What do you,
Well,
I'm
I
looking
was
at
gonna
the
introduce her, but she's already here.
She's
So
already in. You have this floor. Introduce her. And look,
yeah,
and the whole
introduce.
time-
I'm sorry, I
Give me
noticed
one
you just
second.
walked in.
Introduce her to Odisawah. This is Odisawah. She needs to know who's here.
Hi.
And now you introduce
Hello,
her.
how are you?
Hello.
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you for asking.
You have walked into the middle of the topic of the day, which is toxic relationships. Do you know about any of these?
Oh,
Oh, my
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
No.
we're going to turn this into a real round table, and we're just going to discuss it. Odisawah, was sitting here and telling us about how people haven't been taught the correct way to love.
Yeah.
Interact.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
interact. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
love,
You wanna use the
interact,
L word.
show compassion, I guess.
We don't use
yeah.
the L word over here, so I know I said
But you're
it.
the love doctor, I thought.
I'm the love doctor, and I can use it, but I'm the only one with the power to use the L word in here.
Oh my God.
No one else use it.
Oh my God.
This is the beginning of the toxic day.
The beginning of toxic.
I'm like,
relationships.
what?
This is where
Okay.
toxic comes from.
Ego.
Yeah.
Ego, one of
'Cause
the
I'm like-
primary components of toxic relationships. Okay.
Why? See, I feel differently because I feel like environment creates the
Toxicity.
the toxicity. It increases the levels of toxicity because it's your responsibility to understand how to not be toxic in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get around other toxic people, sometimes those juices mix and I don't know.
I kind of disagree.
Let's get a woman's
Okay.
let's get a woman's perspective of toxic relationships.
I think toxic traits create toxic relationships, and I think a lot of that comes from unhealed trauma,
Ooh.
or also the inability to communicate effectively.
Is this the red flags thing?
Yes.
Red flags, yeah, maybe, but I mean, those are red flags, but then those are also triggers for where there may be a space for healing, or where there needs to be some form of intervention or a stopping point energetically.
Safe word?
Pineapple.
Pineapples.
Oh, like, what is the
That's what they
safe
say.
word? Oh,
Pineapple
okay.
is the safe word.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my safe word was torture.
I mean, that's they get other words.
I
Pineapple.
apologize. I missed something. I heard pineapple and torture and safe word all in the same.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm triggered. I'm triggered already.
Oh,
Pineapple.
God. Pineapples.
Boy, pineapple.
Yeah.
But now, okay, I've got a question too, because when we talk about, I guess you can say the polarity of relationships. There's ups and downs, and when we have disagreements, but toxicity is a specific point of uncomfortability for one of the partners. So you got to kind of say what some people like cussing at each other. It's not even toxic for them. But if they get quiet with each other, it's weird.
Yeah.
So, what is toxic for you
One
might
person
not be toxic for
isn't
me.
toxic
And,
for another.
environment, I was just talking about my grandmother raised me and my great grandmother. And it gives me a respect for women that is not just grand, all women are royal. It gives me this, y'all are human and y'all a little crazy.
Wow,
Y'all
that's how you look at
strong.
it.
But you're
Yeah,
strong as hell,
And
and
y'all
you
love
usually
me
know what you're talking
unconditionally.
about, and you be there.
Yeah, you be there. Y'all
it's
love
something
me
about y'all,
unconditionally.
and it's like, but let's see, I was the only boy, so it's a different raising, and it's, my toxic level is in different areas,
Yeah.
So, and some people come up in the hood where ain't nothing but cussing. People cussing each other out all day long.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd be if that was the case.
Well, you have to remember, toxic. Anything toxic can make you sick.
Yes.
So when you say toxic, you have to remember that even in that connotation, you're saying this person, this situation, this dialogue is making me sick, which means that it's not allowing me to be in my highest vibration.
Yeah.
Which means
Becoming
that
unmanageable.
if I feel and I'm uncomfortable, then I need to figure out what that is. So just like the snowflake or experiment or the water experiment when you're talking about quantum physics and things like that, if you talk nicely to a snowflake, it creates these beautiful designs. And then if you talk negatively to it, it's mutated. It isn't as beautiful. It's the same thing for rice, same thing for plants. They've done these studies all over. Like they talk really beautiful to this one container of rice, it stayed white. The other container of rice, they talk ugly to it, it became brown. Same thing with flowers in environments. You don't water them, they don't grow. They don't get sunlight, light, they won't grow. And if they have dead pieces on there, you have this living thing trying to give life to something that's dead, which means that it's being energetically drained.
Wow.
Because you can bring what's dead back to life. So you have to remove it, which goes back to if something's toxic and it's in your body or it's around you, you have to
Get rid of it.
you have to get rid of
Actually, in
it.
your
And
spirit.
then when it comes to relationship, if I'm with you and we don't mesh, vibrational law, we won't be able to stay in the same space, right? Because we're no longer magnetically drawn to each other. We're doing this. But if we force it, the reason it becomes toxic is because you're not supposed to be there.
it's gonna
So you're
repel.
going to argue. You're going to replace that attraction that draws you guys together into
There's a
attract.
dissonance.
No, you're going to trauma bond. Because now you don't understand. It's called trauma
Trauma
bonding.
bond, I understand, yes.
You don't want to leave because you're codependent on something this person have. This person don't want to leave because they're codependent on something you have. So now instead of a connection, you have a
Trauma bond,
attachment.
yeah.
Oh wow.
This is beyond. You
And
now
that's,
have an
that's
attachment.
interesting.
And parasites attach.
Oh wow. And they
So
don't let go.
what does it do? It's gonna drain you.
Suck
And you're
all
gonna
your
be
life
like,
out.
oh my God.
I'm going
what
to
is
step
this?
in there and say, it could drain you because we have the ability to change our polarities
Mhm.
and to change our own frequencies and even to project and change other frequencies around us. So really what we're talking about is the reality of the thing, the snowflake effect. And you know, when you were saying that, I almost went to another world because I was thinking, we know these things.
You
There are
do.
many experiments
That
that
proves this.
prove the production of stress on the planet is the thing that is causing all of the imbalance. Yet we know that something's producing it. We just don't grasp the answers to it. The answer is
Well,
love
until
again.
is love, divinity, the Most High is.
What is
love.
divinity though? What is that?
Well, my personal opinion, because I feel like divinity is like religion. It's whatever your
Okay.
thing is.
Your
For
perspective.
me, is the highest vibration.
I can agree.
Be it you can name it love, you can name it enlightenment, you can name it an abundance of ascension, whatever you want to call it. But for me, it's love. And the only reason I say that because you said we can self-correct. But my point was, if we are aware, we know if we're uncomfortable, right? As adults, we're talking about relationships.
Boundaries.
If we are uncomfortable and we choose not to leave, then you're now setting yourself up for those attachments, that parasitic style.
I'm with you.
Love.
I'm with you. And what I'm doing in my head is saying the things we're saying are correct. So the solution in this, because everyone is not in tune with themselves, therein lies the possibility for toxicity. And at that point, if you happen to find someone that's, and I have to include caring, I have to include forgiveness, I have to include, there might be a child involved. This woman could have been a virgin when she met this person. And these components psychologically weigh in. How many billion people are on the planet now? How many different equations for this truth are there? But the truth is still the same. If you love it, it'll grow.
Yeah.
Well, what I learned is you got to set boundaries to prevent toxicity.
Talking about order.
Yes, but boundaries, if, like they say, a lot of times for black women, we're told not to say certain things. If we say too much, we may come off as aggressive and all that. So a lot of times we may not say what's bothering us. And then, but then when we finally snap, per se, it's too late. But then when someone is rattling off, Cook, I come home, you on the couch, you don't work, it's because now you've held all this in.
Right.
And now you can't take it no more.
You get the opportunity to
So you get the opportunity to let it go, but then you may also be more aggressive than you would have been had you been more vocal. But then when you're vocal, sometimes in a toxic relationship, you always you always bitching. You always complaining. You always, and it's like, whoa, all I said was let the seat down. I don't want to fall in. Or, whoa, leave some food. I'm hungry too. Like, those type of things that's like, I don't feel like I should have to continuously tell you that. But I'm telling you because you're not changing. But then when I speak up, I'm bitching.
Well, it's so funny because I actually did some research into this subject. And I wanted to figure out what I could do to help to improve the relationship. So I realized I had to go back and I had to go into my past and realize I was raised by a strong black woman and I was taught to be what she wanted me to be. Mm-hmm. And as a young black male, I learned to rebel against what she wanted. And slowly over time, it became the outer coats of my armor. And then not knowing the correct way to do it, it's like, how do you learn how to do something right when you learn the wrong? I was raised with tough love. So I felt like love had to hurt. I felt like there had to be some kind of pain, some argument. And that wasn't fair to me or any of my prospective mates because that's toxic. It's not right.
I like, what you got right now, Odisawah? You're kind of quiet over there. You got anything to point out?
I would like to expand on that comment about how you said you received tough love. I've noticed a lot of independent black women, when they have sons, they do give them a type of love that I think would be kind of tough. I don't agree with it, but I don't know, I just think they feel like they're trying to toughen you up for the world, but I think it's still like it's not truth. Right.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth because as a black man who is at the lowest level, I mean, we are under everybody, and what fucked me up.
Well, that's what they teach you.
Well,
what
we were taught.
Nah, yeah, we're not gonna speak.
We were taught.
Yeah.
But see, what's fucked up was I'm supposed to be the protector of the black woman who has even got it worse than me. So it's like looking at it from that perspective, I had to change how I acted, the things I did, the things I said, because I realized that I had a responsibility. And I mean, unfortunately, I haven't met the woman that has become that well, maybe I met her, but remember when we met? Remember how we met?
Oh God.
Here we go.
I don't even know what to say. As a mother of 3 sons, my oldest son will be 19.
Oh wow!
In a month, okay, in a month or 2. And my baby is 7, and my middle son is 13. They are all at different phases, right?
Talented.
Very talented. I don't know what I was thinking with the space, because they are literally in different phases of their life. But one of the things, growing up as a creative, I wasn't raised by my mom. My mom didn't have the most maternal instincts. And then I didn't have a father figure. But the guys that were around were like cutting the grass or like changing a tire or something like that. And I would just watch these things. And then I had half of my family that was Christian and the other half that was Muslim. And then I had a grandma that just was like, just be a good person, right? But my Muslim uncle told me that, and this is what, I pass this on to my son. I'm not sure if this is, the correct way, but I still kind of agree. He was just like, always have on, make sure you clean underwear, you know what time it is, and keep money in your pocket. Also, don't date nobody that don't have nothing, because the person that ain't got nothing will destroy everything you've built. And so I tell my sons that, but they know that, you know, you have to have a good work ethic. And I didn't teach him in the aspect of working for anybody else because my uncle was an entrepreneur. He didn't care. He knew we were girls. We treated us like boys. He's like, y'all gonna get up there and sell socks, hats, and everything else. And, you know, so that's how we were raised.
No.
Now, on the flip side, they told me my son had ADHD when he was like 7 or 8.
They would
And
be.
his school. They didn't look like me. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You told me he doesn't know all 50 sight words. You just said them to me last night. And so I sat with my son, his teacher, and myself, and I said, tell this man these sight words. He rattled them off. And I said, you told me he didn't know. And then I remember him and I having a blink off, you know, and I just like, so maybe you're not reaching him in the way that he needs to be reached. And I found out that day that I gave my son paper. I found out he's an artist. My son, to this day, he draws. I've never set him up for a 9 to 5. He's not that. Like, he's an artist. He learns abstractly, and I knew this from the beginning. So I never told him what he was going to be. I just fostered his gifts.
Great mom.
But I wasn't taught that. That was just my personal anointing. I knew. I was guided from a higher power.
Did you tell the people who you are and about yourself?
I didn't.
Please let the people know who you are, because I know everybody's like, who is this queen?
I asked you to introduce her. And
He got thrown off.
Yeah.
It's okay.
got thrown up? No, I apologize. No.
All right. Hello,
only
beautiful people.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I go by Miss Tashi B. Some people know me as Momma Tee, depending on what you need. I am an artist. I'm also a teacher. I work with special needs children with behavior issues. I use art therapy. Also have an art gallery indicator called Cosmic 9, where we are a safe place for creatives. We are non-judgmental. And we are a landing pad for those who have vision to have an opportunity to explore their gifts.
Okay. Now, I've heard this word creatives several times come from you. What is your definition of what creatives are?
Creatives are those people who have chosen to step outside of any conformity, any box, and be who they are naturally, without judgment. They are those that also are artists. And when I say artists, I don't mean those that just draw. They may be pianists. They may, do food, culinary arts, whatever different type of art that it is. But they fostered their gifts and are
kind of honed into their inner
truth.
Okay, yeah.
And as a guide, I just make sure that they stay tapped in. Tapped in.
And not to get off the subject that we're on, but what I'd like to bring forward in the conversation also is I'm listening to generational changes of parenting as I'm listening.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And,
Yes.
like I say, when I grew up, I could walk outside and get in the briar patch where the sand was. I don't know why I was there. I was
know how old
3 or
he
4.
Mm-hmm.
Briar patch?
I'm not a. I was agreeing
What is a
with.
briar patch?
I knew what it was, but I'm like, a briar patch in sand.
I know what a briar patch is, but I'm sure that some of our audience.
Beach and the backyard.
All you
I think that was
swimmers,
toxic.
anyway.
It's toxic that you don't tell the people what a briar
A briar
patch is.
patch is a place in the neighborhood where a lot of sticker bugs
Yes.
grow.
And if you don't know what sticker
If you
bugs
don't know what
are,
sticker bugs is, I can't help you. I don't have
You
any
ain't
scientific
country.
term
You
for
ain't
these
country.
things. Notwithstanding, I could go out there and be playing in the wrong place, and Miss Thomas from across the street or Miss Pepper, they could come out there and tan me. And it didn't make sense to go home and tell nobody what happened, because you finna get tanned again for doing something you wasn't supposed to be
do
doing.
anyway. Yep.
Yet, it brings back to mind. I don't blame any of my people for any condition I find them in. It's not their fault. It's contrite, residual shit.
Programming.
No, it's shit, and it is programming. Because I want to mention, we teach what Our uncles said. Our uncles grew up in complete darkness. Our aunties, complete. Your grandmama, complete darkness. We have been, as a people, functioning 2 weeks short of slavery for over 400 years. Now, a lot of you listeners might say, "Oh, he's a no. I love white folks, brown folks, yellow folks. However, black folks, top of the list."
All right, I love. We
But
real place.
now, and I ain't saying but to negate that. I'm saying, let me say additionally, we've adopted some bullshit to be black folks through things we've been taught in the media, we've been sub-taught in the elementary schools, or
Standards of
half-taught
beauty.
in the high schools.
Yep.
And the dilemma in toxicity for us is the breaking down of the internal function of our communities, because you can sneak around. As soon as you're outside your house now, you're free. There's no boundaries. No one has any order over me. And there was only your mama, and she might have had other people around to tend to, your brothers and sisters, and the society was breaking down, chopping at you from each direction. Men, education, women, vanity. No offense to anyone in any capacity, because I love beautiful black women, whether you got a weave or whether you got dreadlocks. Yet, to evaluate how to stop toxic relationships, we have to evaluate how we got to each particular point of light that each of us are. Because I can't leave anybody out because they homosexual. I don't condone it, like it. It's not me. But I got cousins, aunties. My mother was gay at one time. Love you, Ma. She's still alive. I gave her in marriage to her, I guess, her wife.
Yes, that's what it'll be.
That's what I would say. But now, today, if you say wife, what do you mean wife? I don't know. But it's not just our people doing this. It's the culminated attacks from different areas, and who gets to write the scenario?
Yeah, let me chime in just a little bit.
Go ahead.
All right. So, piggybacking on a little bit of what you said about the disparity between what we've been taught about who we are. The biggest disconnect is about being taught who we are. So if you are told from a child to an adult who you are in any school or church or whatever the case may be, you're trying to conform to this ideology of what you've been taught. So the disconnect is no one told you you were a God. No one told you that you taught people how to read.
Right, keep on
no
talking.
one told you that you taught them how to bathe.
I'm the
No
amen
one
corner
told
right
you
now.
that you were the one that
Ashe.
created the systems for bathrooms and
Ashe.
and built the
That means
most
I
beautiful
agree,
the most beautiful libraries. No one taught you that, so you don't know that you are connected to some of the most intelligent, some of the most beautiful beings out there. So whether what your sexuality is minute to who you really are at your core. So what you do in your heat of the passion or whatever the case may be, I'm one of those, it's not significant, because at the end of the day, for me, I don't care about that. You need to be a good human. Don't mess with kids. Don't be fighting, doing no violent stuff.
Yep.
And don't be out here purposely hurting people, be it mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever the case may be. I ain't gonna say, everybody know me, Demon Slayer. I'm an OG. So it's like, at the end of the day, they have to know who they are.
Okay, you
And
just
so-
said something. Wait, you just said something. You said I'm an OG. And
I don't mean gangster. I mean an original God energy. So I'm telling you, when I say OG, and let me correct
glad
that,
you
because I don't want
clarified
nobody.
it. Yeah, no,
I want them to
please
know OG and original. When I say OG, I mean I am an original goddess. Like a real, like, I know my worth. I know my beginning. I know my end. I know my purpose.
Goddess, let me explain something to you. I teach at a church.
Okay.
Now, and I ain't nobody like that. But what I want to say is, when you say Jesus to me, I say capital G, apostrophe, capital U, S. Now, you take that however you like that, because you are the goddess. He is the God. I am the God. Now, does that mean there weren't Christ? No, we're trying to achieve Christdom right now, or Christhood, or or enlightenment, whatever you might want to call it. We're always doing that. You never get there, people. So if you think you're there, you're not there. I need to remind all of my highly elevated cultural people, we're not there. There wouldn't be a war in Ukraine right now if we were there. And when I said geez, us gods, we have to remind ourselves of our origins, because these keep reminding your young men that they're young gods. Don't just tell them about slavery. We need to know that to ensure that we will go through your ass if the word comes out your mouth in our presence.
Well,
I
look,
mean that like the Gullah Geechee when I say that.
well, look,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm mad because I didn't learn about whitewashing until my mid-20s. I was like, something didn't feel right all this time that I was learning all this stuff.
Whitewashing.
Yeah, when they...
That means, the Egyptians, they did a movie on Egypt, and the actors were white.
Oh.
We
you
know
talking
the
about,
heat.
like, Bible.
We know, we just saying,
Bible.
the woolly hair, the
But since-
nostrils for the heat that take in because your brain need the air.
Since we on the
But they
subject.
didn't look like that. That's what he mean. Like the history,
Oh.
like they didn't look like.
Whitewashing
Why you making them
is-
look like you? Like they don't look like. That's
It ain't
not.
a new
That's not a look.
thing, y'all. It's
Old.
Yeah.
It's an
I didn't know
old
that's what it
thing.
was called.
But no,
Yes, that's what it's
because
called.
you use the example of what you call Egypt. That's Greek to me. That's Kemet. And you need to talk about Nubia when you're talking about what our people need to know about who we are. And not just because of who we are, that lets you know someone else is someone else.
Yeah, no, that's real. Y'all all over here all philosophical and stuff, though. I just got one question, man. What can we do to fix and heal these toxic relationships?
This.
Communication,
Constantly.
education, wisdom is free.
No,
I
it's
tell
not.
people,
No.
when
wisdom, you got to earn wisdom.
I
do.
hear
I'm
you,
sorry.
but I'm saying, but for me, let me
give
speak
it
on
away
myself.
free.
Now,
I'll
let me
give
tell you
it
this.
away
When I
free.
say free, this
But
is
you
what
got to
I'm saying.
earn wisdom. I ain't gonna say it's
let me
free.
tell you. Hey, we can agree to disagree because this is
agree
how.
to disagree on
Yeah,
that
we can
one.
agree to
All right.
disagree because this is how. This is me. This Momma
with
T.
you, love.
This
I'm
Miss
on your
Tasha
team.
B. Yeah. So when I say wisdom is free, at some point, everybody, you either a teacher or you a student, right?
Facts.
No matter what it is, your children are your biggest teachers, right?
real talk.
You really the student. Because
Right.
you gotta
learn
learn.
so much to
You got to
learn.
learn so much from your kids. And so when I say wisdom is free, if I tell you don't cross that street, it's busy. I'm not charging you for that. I don't want you to pay for crossing the street and get hit by a car.
That's what I mean.
That right there, that's gonna cost you. The information is free. Now what you do with it is totally different.
Exactly.
Right? And how you apply it is totally different.
Yep.
So when it comes to how do you deal with toxic relationships, I know. I was married. All right? I've been divorced, separated for 3 years. If I told you my story, you'll be like, wait a minute. All right? Let me tell you. I stayed in something because, and I knew I didn't fit, right? And what made me realize, like, okay, this is you. I remember yelling, like, I don't fit in your box. We was having a difference in front of a mirror, and I was like, I don't fit in your box. And I didn't see him. I just seen myself yelling at me. And I was like, ooh, whoa, like, that's crazy. And we're like, there's no shackles on you. There's nothing that's saying that you have to stay right here. But you condemning yourself, knowing that this is somewhere you're not supposed to be. And it's now, you don't like it. You bitching about it, but you ain't
Doing
strategized to
nothing. Yeah.
leave yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Let me ask a question in that spirit of conversation. What is the strategy ahead of time for the exit? Because let me finish my conversation. Just give me a second. As I said, as we've been taught to be more promiscuous possibly than it would be wise for people building and rebuilding themselves to be. And we try to dance around order or what some people say law, marriage, stuff like that. At this point in time, knowing the things that we know, because to have more of us black folks, we have to procreate. We do know we have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm of the state of mind of sexuality being thrust upon us for reasons that we don't even know about. And what I mean by that is, it's not family that's thrust upon us. It's not community that's thrust upon us, but you see all of these possibilities for sex that have no order other than casual sex attached to them. And all sex is the possible creation of life. All. Not just sex. I ain't talking about getting married. Just when you have sex.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were conceptualizing with European understanding, or I say Caucasian understanding of relationship.
Isn't it European?
No. First Europeans were black. Out of the Caucasus Mountains.
Pangea,
came
everything
white
was
folk.
connected. Hot.
And yeah. So
It was us.
One continent.
One
you know,
continent.
I don't even. They've got 4,700 years of history.
Yeah.
They can't find out how old we are, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But my point is
Mm-hmm.
getting to the order we have to establish, because in order to kill these things that we say are in our society, it's us. I don't come out of my cave not to fix society. I'm fixed. When I say fixed, I call films fixes. I don't do a movie unless I'm directly fixing to fix shit along the way.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a area that's blighted, I'm going to write a scene where somebody wants to get this area cleaned, and we're going to clean it, then we're going to go to the next phase. But we're going to make relationship while we do that. Unlike Hollywood. Hollywood's going to have a set, it's going to look good, they're going to smile at some people, but really, you're not part of us. Those communities we drive through, that's part of me, that's part of your creator. This is part of your creator. So how can we separate ourselves in all these different ways and procreate and enjoy each other in relationship without the toxicity? What's causing the inability to fit in the box?
Well, that part.
And what
And don't-
caused the cause? And
Right.
I'm not trying to open up your thing. I'm talking generally. Where do we create the mechanisms that address these things happening, and how do we heal them before they even get toxic? Because the relationship started on non-toxic terms. Now, if they were only sexual, we have to go back another step and teach, don't get caught up in your libido opposed to your life.
Well, sex and rituals and some other stuff, that can go a little bit deep. I'm not going to go there because, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm talking about how we teach it as
Yeah,
a society.
But I want to bring it back and simplify it just a little bit. Because the easiest way, and this is just my opinion to answer that, is to teach self-love. When you teach self-love, you teach boundaries. You teach the ability to communicate what doesn't feel good. Like when I'm speaking to my students, they say, sometimes I watch them, right? I may facilitate some behaviors, but I don't get too involved because I want them to know how to communicate, how to interact with each other. So if something doesn't feel good, I say, hey, tell them, I don't like that. I don't like that you touch me like that. That doesn't feel good. And a lot of times when you can articulate what you're feeling, sometimes the person on the other end is like, whoa, they said don't touch me. They don't like that. They feel violated. And it makes them stop and look
check
at
themselves.
what they're doing.
Exactly.
And so when you start teaching the language of what self-love look like, how to communicate what you're feeling, and sometimes I teach them enough where sometimes their parents are like, whoa, they told me that they didn't like the tone that I yelled at them, and that they could just talk to they could talk to me. And they're like, what? You don't talk to me like that. And the parents like, no, they're telling you, you don't have to yell at me. We can have, and I teach them what dialogue is.
Language changes environment, and environment changes reality.
And that part.
Effective communication.
Hey,
Yeah, but like I said, self-love and speaking life into who they are. That means like we're not telling them who the school tell them to be, what any other particular organization is telling them to be, but letting them know from jump, you are great. You are beautiful. You are connected to something that they still cannot understand.
You miss something I'm saying, though. How are we going to be the school? Because
it don't matter where you at. You a teacher, don't matter where you at.
Not the. See, because as long as our people are sent off into schools that are not designed for us, we're going to have problems. And their writing the scenarios all over the world. We have to stop thinking like it's not our responsibility to go into our own places where our people are and take them away from last class citizenship. These are the things that start the toxic situations because they control all of our economy. We don't have any internal communication system unless they put it on TV. And I'm not going to name any of our so-called black TV leadership.
But externally communicating that is by voicing it. So you can go to school. My kids went to school, but I guarantee you, you can pull one of them to the side. They may say, this is what I learned here, but this is what I know. You, like, whatever the case may be. Well, I had, at a point, I was in the rat race, 9 to 5 in it, but I was a teacher. And I would take the jewels that I knew, and I would insert them where I could. I would put, outside of some of the politics, I would still be able to drop jewels that in areas that I wouldn't normally be able to penetrate. But when I was there in that space, I did what I was supposed to do. I did that, and as I learned and made it available, so now I have an art gallery, right? At my art gallery, I have different classes. I have people come in to teach comedic yoga. I have people that come in and we have meditation. We have different things that I wasn't able to do in the school system. But now you can still go to school, but on a Saturday or Sunday, you can still come to the art gallery and still get this work. So I still, where I can penetrate with this light, I still do. Sometimes you have to go in.
See, I hear a lot of the things that we do within the realm of the things we can't penetrate. I don't believe in a non-penetration theory. I believe we're gods. And it's a we situation.
Yeah.
The programming is against us being that we. That's part of the program. And as long as I put something else in that equation that is not us, the story in the Bible, the leaven in the loaf? We keep wanting to put leaven in our bread. Leavening is something you put in bread to make it rise.
Like yeast.
Yeah, yeast. Mm-hmm. Yeast is what leavening is. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, there are no exterior answers for what's happening against our people particularly. These are all interior answers, but now I'm not saying, it's kind of like saying, well, you can go to the cotton field and still be conscious. You can. And this is what I'd say in push. How many more of us have to become conscious before we come together and establish those conscious things that are life? Because that Messiah they're talking about says, I am the way. This is the way we do it. We, not how y'all do it. Mm-hmm. Not they. Not they said my son is this way or that way. Mm-hmm. But my son is with us over here. I don't know what the fuck they talking about.
Right.
And see, that's where, I like to penetrate that area with us because I hate the programming we're under. Yeah. And I've been under, deep under it. And it's in everything. Yet the solutions we're looking for now in toxic relationship is full. It's not just a man and woman, as you can see, because the man and woman can be together, make a whole nother man or woman, and not be together no more. And
right.
It might be the best way. Somebody else taught us this other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. He could love you more, not as your husband, and your child, if that wasn't that pressure on it anyway. Now, would you go out and have children by somebody else? Probably. You're still fertile. What would he feel about that man? Well, if he cares about you, he should love that man, shouldn't he?
Well, not to go too far off.
Oh,
let's go back now. Let's go back. I want to go back to what my initial point. Truth creates choice. So if I meet you, truth creates choice. If I meet him and I tell him, hey, I'm dating a couple of people, right? He now knows that you are not the only one. You're not the only suitor that I have. And in the beginning or in the end, I'm just letting you know.
Once you lost me, you lost.
Yeah, I'm saying, I love. You want to get married, whatever you want to do.
Everybody's forgetting about the children. Relationships produce life.
But think about it. Truth. If you have two parents in their truth, and they have children, No, I'm
No,
not.
you don't.
You have to.
No, you
To
don't.
be on this planet, a male and a female have to come together.
For conception.
Yeah, for
yes.
conception,
That's-
but
okay,
there's
I'm
more
using the
than
wrong
that
word.
though.
Talk about
You have to
past that.
raise
I'm
children,
talking about
and you
they
have
get
to
to-
nourish
they had-
them,
they
and you
had
have
to be in some
to give
type
them
of
what they need.
relationship
I
to
think-
get that.
I think
They not. I mean, you don't have to be in a relationship.
Okay, you
just
could be
screw.
raped.
Yeah,
There could be
you
incest
be
involved,
raped,
but that's
it could
like
be
0.0001%.
incest.
Well, I'm talking
It could
about
be a
just
one-night
two
stand,
people
all that
come
shit.
together. Let's just say you have your mother and your father, and if both of them are in their truth and they are living in their truth, they speak their truth. Their children are aware of their truth. Their children can articulate what their truth is and can say yay or nay because they have open lines of communication. And to go back what you said when you were speaking biblically, the first meeting or coming together was between like man and woman for a family. That's the first meeting. We got that part. But the part that I'm saying is, if the truth is spoken from the beginning and we know the truth or have knowledge of the truth and we share it, we then open the airways up for conscious decision making.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps with either alleviating toxicity or the ability to communicate what doesn't feel good, what's making me sick, what's making me vibe at a low vibration.
I think women and a lot of people get sick from being committed, I think, evidently from what I'm hearing.
Because they're not in their truth.
Hey,
It's not 'cause
Yessie, I
'cause if
see
you
some
sick-
red
if
flags
I'm
on
with
you, Yessie.
if
Red
I-
flags all
but
over.
if I'm
Let's
with
go.
you and I'm
Commitment.
sick of being with you, guess what?
But that-
I'm not walking in my truth.
But
You're not in your
This is
truth.
my point. If you got with me and now you're getting sick of me, there's some exterior components evidently happening somewhere that aren't being shared.
It's because you're
And
toxic.
Okay, what is being toxic? Why wasn't I toxic when you first got with me? What caused this sudden toxicity? And I'm not
I
talking
think you
about
got comfortable, Yessie. That's what she told me. She said you got comfortable. You got comfortable.
Bite me. I apologize.
But anyway,
No,
hey,
I'm
I want to
not saying-
I want to thank
Yeah.
everybody for tuning in to the live radio show. This is our first episode, Toxic Relationships.
Toxic relationship.
If you feel like you either committed one, you either came into one, contributed to one, or were the root cause of it, there is hope. There is a solution. Tune back in next week when we talk about NFTs. Get your NFTs.
non-fungible
Tokens. That's right.
That's right.
The money in the future.
Money
The
in the
metaverse,
future.
the digital universe. Let's come get these coins. I'd like
I hate
to
we
thank-
had to stop this here. We got to stop already.
Well, you said you wanted 20 minutes to do the next show, and it looks like we're under 20 minutes, so I was trying to keep us down.
Is
But,
that really? Okay.
I mean, we could take it down to 15 if you want to take 3 more minutes to talk about biblical.
Let's finish this up and do that.
Well, this is
Because
it.
she
We're
was in
finished.
the middle of a thought, and I'd hate to lose that.
Were you in the middle of a thought?
Of course.
Oh God. Okay. Look, we're gonna unfinish the show.
Oh.
You got 2 minutes. You got a minute and 32 seconds to finish your thought. I hope this isn't being toxic. I'm trying my best to not be toxic.
And that was a
He's
toxic
toxic,
thing, man. He
he's
called me
toxic,
toxic and then ended the
but-
show.
Red flag.
Red flag. And then he put a red
It's
flag
all-
on me
it's
before
all-
he did that. Oh my God. Spud.
Let her wrap it up.
We need
What I was
intervention
saying
now.
was, if you're in a situation and you're not happy, it's probably because you're not being truthful about what makes you happy or what you need internally possibly to feed you with that you may be giving to someone else. So that can then become toxic because it goes back to that word truth.
Be true to yourself.
Truth and communication. So if you're not truthfully communicating what you're feeling, I don't care if she meets you and then
I don't
she
think
gets
it's a
bored, he or
communication,
she get
though.
bored with you.
It's definitely
If
communication.
they tell you, hey, I love the beginning of the thrill. I want to get off the ride.
So
Guess
we're talking
what?
more
There's
fornication
nothing you
than
can do.
commitment.
Hey, it's time to get
No,
off the
no, we're
ride.
not saying
No,
that.
I don't.
We're not saying that.
I disagree
Commitment
with
is
you in
but
this.
relationships, remember, relationships are, you
The
have to
polarity
be,
of the relationship
polarity,
is
but you
basically
have-
what we're talking about.
the most successful relationships are those that are built on trust
And who says
and
that?
communication.
Well, I can believe
Those
that.
that have good healthy relationships.
Yes,
That's
trust
what
and
says it.
communication.
I
And
just want
those
to
that
make
are
sure
dealing
with
with
something.
red
I mean, I don't
flags
care
and
who said that.
toxicity
I'll go with that. We'll
are
get that.
those that majority of them
I don't
have not been in their truth.
Queen,
And that's just what
I
it
don't
is.
think. I mean, this is
Truthful
my point.
to
My,
themselves, though.
but
That's,
see,
but
my
remember, I
my
said
issue
self-love. If you
is
put that
to
first,
the
and teach
establishment
that, you
of-
can communicate healthy boundaries.
Yes.
what you're failing to understand is someone else is writing a narrative that is affecting the mental and spiritual health of the people we're talking about. So we, as this targeted people, I'm seeking out the collective effort. Do we change marital issues or vows, or does marriage mean something else to us as a people? Because we have to write the narrative. Because if mommy and daddy just have this free love relationship and you send Bobby out to regular public school, and Bobby has to now deal with all of this, the impact from a society that's still in the box. And if we keep sending our children into the box, but saying we're this and that, but go over there with the other people and act like that, that's where I'm talking about the solution lies. And we're always supposed to be truthful.
You got to meet people where they are. If someone
That's where
is
we
from
are
a hood,
today.
I know, but if you
So
got to
how
meet
do
people
we
where they
change
are,
where we are, or do we just stay
it's
subclass
wisdom.
citizens?
It's wisdom. You don't
But
let
as
them
I'm
be
saying,
ignorant.
how
So
many
you share the wisdom.
how many wise people have to come together to separate themselves like the people that stole this
As
country
many people
did?
came
13.
together to.
I
as
like
many people,
that
I was about to
number.
say, but you
That's
have
a
to look
good
at
number.
who's in the. If you really want to go deep, and we ain't got time for this. You talking about how many people got to come together to change the scenario
Just
when
one.
you have how much?
Are we agreeing that the
3%,
scenario
11%?
can be changed?
We agree, but at the same
Okay.
time, don't say that there have to be so many to
Yeah, it
come
just
together
takes
to
one.
change. Because at the end
care
of the
how
day,
many.
if you count who's in the Senate, it's one president who gets
Senate.
like one.
What if I elected a different cabinet and representation?
Can you
and
do that
everything?
alone?
I said, how many wise people do we need to coordinate the separation and continuation of our
just
people?
How many?
takes
and
Go
one.
back. We'll go back to your biblical stance. How many people? How many
So
Jesuses?
12.
How many Jesuses was it?
13.
So does it take 13?
How many Christs were there? There have been many
Well, okay,
Christs.
let's say.
All right,
Well,
we're
this
taking
is
over your
this is
airways.
way-
We're
this is
taking over
way-
your
This is a
airways.
whole
This
different
episode is
conversation.
now
Because we're talking
over.
about one. Like,
We
it'll
have-
take it.
No,
it'll-
I'm talking
12
about
minutes
unity.
and 37 seconds to do this next
Basically.
episode.
And no, let's wrap this one up then, because I want to hear your point. And
Oh, my
all respect,
goodness.
love. Like,
Yeah.
we're here to get to solutions, people. You know, this is the first live radio show that we've attempted. I hope you enjoyed it.
You did it.
My
We
bro
just
is
did
Spud,
it.
and I never did actually get to introduce the actual host of the show, my good friend, companion, young brother, Spud,
Not only my guest, but I'm also
Big
the host of the
Spud,
show.
DJ Big
DJ
Spud.
Big motherfucking Spud in
Oh
the
my
motherfucking house.
God.
All right, y'all.
Oh, yeah. But now, notwithstanding, folks, we're
Thanks
going to
for
be
tuning-
doing this more. Yeah, go ahead,
thanks
bro.
for tuning in to every week, every other week, every third week. I don't know what Yessie's plans are for this, but
can
I guess
bless
he'll
you.
tell you in episode 2.
And listen, what's that? The DM thing. If you look at this, go
Jump
ahead.
in
and
his
give us
DM
some
right
comments.
now. He trying to find a hot,
No.
a hot,
Stay away
sexy
from my
mama that can
DM.
cook.
Spud Ops, wherever we're showing this video, jump in, give us some comments.
Get out my
If you
DM.
want to really,
Please.
because most things
Tired of
we're
this.
dealing with are going to come back to how do we make this work for all of us
For all of y'all.
and y'all. Y'all part of us. Trust me. And you know it ain't too heavy, but he's my brother. Anyway, y'all. Much love, more time. This is Yessie and Spud. You ready to say bye, bro?